Welcome back to Chapter 4 of our series, Land Your Dream Job, the Modern Interview System. In this episode, titled The STAR Method 2.0, Tell Stories That Get Offers, we're going to explore how you can master the STAR method to craft compelling stories that make you stand out in interviews. So, if you're ready to learn how to turn your experiences into powerful narratives, let's dive in. Half an hour. That's about how long a job interview lasts. Here's the twist. Most interviewers clearly remember only a tiny slice of what you said. Yet some candidates get remembered almost word for word. Why? Their answers land as stories, not scattered bullet points. Behavioral questions are the secret backbone of most modern interviews, especially at companies like Amazon, Google, and Deloitte. On the surface, they sound simple. Tell me about a time you disagreed with your manager. Describe a situation where you had to learn something quickly. Give an example of working with a difficult stakeholder. Underneath, they're carefully engineered prompts designed to predict how you'll perform on the job, not just how well you talk about yourself. That's where STAR 2.0 comes in. Instead of tossing out vague highlights, you turn each answer into a focused narrative with a clear arc and a point. It's less like reading your resume aloud, and more like walking the interviewer through a case study where you're the lead consultant. In this episode, we're going to zoom in on why STAR 2.0 works so well in the real world and how to make it work for you. Behavioral questions aren't random. They're calibrated to uncover patterns in how you think, decide, and recover when things don't go as planned. Interviewers at top firms are literally trained to listen for those patterns. When your answer follows a clear arc, they can score you quickly and consistently, which reduces bias and guesswork. That's good news. Instead of trying to impress with volume, your job is to surface the few sharp, memorable stories that map directly to the role. Numbers first. In one study, interviewers remembered about 10% of a typical conversation, but when answers were given as short, structured stories, recall jumped to 40%. The crazy part? Those interviewers weren't trying harder. The stories were simply built in a way the brain likes to store and replay. STAR 2.0 leans into that by adding two layers most candidates skip: reflection and relevance. This is where your answer stops being a nice story and starts sounding like evidence that you're tailor-made for this job. Reflection is the brief moment where you turn the camera back on yourself, what you noticed, what surprised you, what you'd repeat or change. It signals something interviewers care about even more than your win: your capacity to self-correct. Companies betting on you for the long term want to see that you don't just stumble into results, you understand why things worked. Relevance is where you connect the dots for them. Instead of hoping the interviewer makes the leap from, "I fixed a reporting process," to, "They can own our messy data workflows," you say it outright. You link a past pattern, calming an angry client, rebuilding a process, aligning stakeholders, to a concrete need in the role description. That link is especially powerful when you pair it with specific, quantified outcomes. Structured interviews already cut bias significantly. When your story ends in numbers, you reduce a quieter bias too: the instinct to dismiss softer skills as nice but vague. A 12% churn reduction, a 30% faster cycle time, or even saving your team 3 hours a week anchors your story in something harder to argue with. You also don't need a hero saga to qualify. Incremental wins count, as long as you show a clear before and after, and then extract a lesson that travels. Think of it like adjusting a medication dose rather than discovering a miracle cure. Small, measured changes that produce steady, reliable improvements. Those are exactly the kinds of patterns hiring managers hope you'll repeat once you're on their team. Here's how STAR 2.0 looks in practice. Say you're interviewing for a product role and get, "Tell me about a time you had to influence without authority." You might answer, Situation/task. Our sign-up flow drop-off had quietly climbed to 45%, but no one owned it. As a mid-level PM, I was worried it would threaten our quarterly target. Action. I pulled a week of funnel data, ran 3 quick user tests, and mocked up a simpler 3-step flow. Then I booked one-to-ones with design, engineering, and sales, tailoring the pitch. Time saved for engineering, demo strength for sales, and user clarity for design. Result: we shipped an A/B test in 2 sprints. Drop-off fell to 27%, adding about 1,200 net signups a month. Reflection: I realized I'd almost started with a solution instead of shared data. Leading with evidence made buy-in easier. Relevance: your JD mentions cross-functional influence to improve onboarding. I'd apply the same data-first, low-friction approach to your mobile funnel, especially around step 2 where most apps lose users. As AI filters resumes, humans will spend more time probing how you navigate gray areas, competing priorities, half-baked data, clashing stakeholders. STAR 2.0 becomes your portable lab report. You're not just naming skills, you're showing how they behave under pressure. Over time, expect interviews to feel closer to design critiques or medical case conferences. You'll walk through decisions, trade-offs, and follow-up treatments, then co-create how that thinking might plug into their toughest problems. Treat STAR 2.0 as a living draft, not a script carved in stone. After each interview, note which stories sparked follow-up questions, nods, or smiles. Those are your hits. Like a chef refining a signature dish, tweak seasoning. Tighten the setup, sharpen the numbers, deepen the reflection. Over a few iterations, you'll build a small, reliable repertoire. Here's your challenge this week. Choose 3 key interview stories, for example, a conflict with a teammate, a big win, and a failure, and rewrite each one using STAR 2.0. Add a sharp 1 to 2 sentence headline outcome up front. Make the action section 60 to 70% of the story with specific behaviors, and end with 2 to 3 quantified, business-focused results. Then record yourself telling each story in under 90 seconds, and listen back once, trimming any fluff so every sentence either sets context, shows your actions, or proves impact. By the end of the week, you should have a tight, repeatable story toolkit of 3 polished answers you could confidently use in an interview tomorrow. This was Owl Up, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on owlup.co. Visit owlup.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!